Well, hello there. Welcome to Wood Chip Woodworking. Thanks for stopping by the channel. And this is Paul Courtwright. Do a little housekeeping real quick before we get started. Please feel free to share, subscribe, like. And from what I understand, YouTube has started this new feature called Hype. So within the first 7 days of the video being uploaded, if you look down in the bottom where the comment section and all that stuff is, there should be a little button to push Hype. And that helps the algorithm, helps the channel grow, and helps me out tremendously as far as getting my videos out there. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to turn a Peppermill, and here's the kit. We're going to do a 12-inch Peppermill, and we're going to use this blank here. It's a piece of maple, purple heart, Paduke, maple, and purple heart. So I'm not sure where I got the blank from, but I thought it would be an interesting Peppermill to do. So let's get started on our project today. And once again, feel free to share, subscribe, like, and hit that hype button. And let's get this channel to grow. All right, let's get over the lathe and get started, and we'll be right back. Hang tight. All right, here we are. First of all, I'm going to start out between centers. So I'm going to put my block in here, and we're going to make it round and put a spigot on both ends. And we've got to cut out the part for the top for the top of the Peppermill. So I'll put this in down here so you can see what I've got going. Like I said, we're going to start out between centers and get it going here. So, all right, let's put my PPE on, and then we'll get started here. So, put my face shield on, my gloves, and let's get this blank round. Like I said, it's Purple Heart, Paduke, maple. Not sure where I got this blank from. Picked it up somewhere, but I thought it would make an interesting Peppermill. So that being said, it's probably a 3-inch. Oh, let's tell you what it is. Get you an idea. Yep, it's a 3-inch by 3-inch blank, and it is 12 inches long. So it's a 3 by 3 by 12. So let's get started on this. I'm going to make it round, and then I'll put a spigot on this end. I already did this end before I decided to do the video. And I thought this was a pretty good blank to do it with. So let's do it. I got my skew here and face shields on. And let's get started. So I'm just going to round it over. As you can hear, the chips are hitting the face shield. One reason why I like wearing a face shield is it protects my face. And I like using the skew because I get a smoother cut on it. I'm not worried about getting it exactly perfectly round right yet. I got it pretty close. Can't really get over here because of the end of my tool rest, but I'm pretty close. Still got a flat spot right there, but that's all right. So what we need to do is put a spigot on this end. I got my bidet in here. All right, good. Now what I need to do is figure out, I got a 12-inch blank, and I want to do a third of it. So I'm going to do the top part about somewhere right in there. Get my pencil here, and we'll measure down. So I'm thinking the top part you're going to grab hold of the turn. I'm going to go roughly 2.5 inches. And that would mean the rest of it should be about 9.5. So the base of the Peppermill will be 9.5 and the top will be about 2.5. That don't look too bad. So I'm going to put a mark kind of all the way around. And we're going to part that off. But I got to put a spigot on that end too because I got to drill a couple holes in it. So, yeah, I'm going to split that. So I'm just going to cut this down so I can put a spigot on it before I cut it off. And since I gotta drill this out, I'm gonna put a spigot on this end too. Not like that. Make sure this is square. All right. Okay. So I need to cut it right down there. Okay. So I'm going to cut it with my parting tool. And then I'll cut it with the handsaw here. I got a handsaw here. We'll cut it the rest of the way off. So I'm going to split it with my parting tool first. Get right on that edge. Okay. About as much as I'm going to be able to get. My parting tool. And we're going to cut it the rest of the way with a handsaw. Take a little pressure off it. Padauk and Purple Heart is a very hard wood. I'll tell you that. Let's try the finer side of the blade here. See if that works better. This saw has a finer kerf and a thicker one. think I might got it. Yeah. Here we are. Got our 2 blanks. Spigot on both ends. All right. So what we got to do next is we got to drill some holes, and I got to set it up with my chuck. So give me a second to do that, and we'll be right back. Hang tight. All right. Just so you get an idea of what the kit comes with, you got your rod here. This is what drives it. This is what holds a mechanism in place. Then you have the base and the grinding mechanism in here, and this fits in there. You got a spring that goes in here, and that helps with the coarseness of it. And then you got a nut for the top, and then this is what fits over top. It gets into the top part, and this is what turns the whole thing when you turn the top of the Peppermill. So that's the parts. So to drill this all out, the first thing we got to do is we got to drill, well, we're going to drill from the bottom part of the top here. So that is this size hole here, which is inch. I believe it's an inch. It's an inch. Okay. So we're going to drill an inch hole down through there. And I might actually, to give it a little bit more bulk in there, I'm going to drill an 1.5 hole down through that center to get down, and then we'll go from there. So let me grab an 1.5 Forstner bit, and we'll go over to the lathe and get started drilling. So hang tight. All right, so we're going to drill an 1.5 hole down, and we're going to go down about right to there, which is probably 8 inches. Let's measure that and see. So we want to leave a little bit down here for our base. So we're going to drill down about 7 inches. Yeah, we'll drill down about 7 inches with an 1.5 inches. So I got my Forstner bit in there. I'm going to run this about 200 RPMs. I got my quill set at 1 inch. And we're going to drill it. As they say, drill, baby, drill. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to be a hard piece of wood, so I'm going to have to take my time. I'll have to probably cool the bit off a little bit because it will get hot. I don't want it to overheat my bit, so we're going to drill down there quite a bit. I'll drill probably about a 1/2 inch, back it out. Clean out my chips. Drill another 1/2 inch. And I'll just keep doing this. There's another 1/2 inch. I'll back it out to 1 inch. Move it up to 1 inch again, and I just keep drilling. All right, I'll keep doing this until I can drill no more with this, and then I'll show you what I got to do to put an extension on there. So hang tight. All right, so I got it down to basically 2 inches. Okay, that's as far as I can go with the chuck. So now all I got to do is put an extension in it to allow me to go deeper. So I got an extension here, and I just put this on here. And it has some set screws in the end. I loosen them up and stick my bit in there. And what I did was I ground a flat spot on here for the set screws to set on. That way, keeps it from spinning in this extender. All right. So, all right. That's starting off at 1 inch. I'm just going to check and see how far down I am. Make sure I'm down 2 inches. 1 inch. And there's 2 inches, so I'm down 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 inches. Okay, so I'm down 3 1/8 inches into my hole. And I think I said I was going to drill out to 7 inches. So we're going to back this back out to 1 inch because I don't want to extend way out over top of the thing. So we're down 3 1/2 inches down into it. And we want to go, if I'm not mistaken, down 7 inches. So I want to go basically another 4 inches. So, and going in this deep, I don't want to go too fast. So I'm just going to go real slow. I'll do the same thing. So there's a lot of torque on that. So I'm going to go down about a 1/2 inch, going slow. Now pull the bit out and clean it out. Okay, so there's a 1/2 inch. And I'll do that same thing until I get down to 7 inches. And you can see it clean, you pull the chips out and clean that up. Okay, hang tight and I'll be right back once I get that drilled. All right, so I got my hole drilled down 7 inches. And people wonder, or people have asked me why I drilled the hole halfway through this side and then turn around. Why not drill all the way through? Well, if I drill from halfway through one side and then drill halfway from the other side, I meet in the middle. So I know I got my hole in the center here, but in the middle, it might be just a slight little bit off. So that's the reason why I drilled down. So now what I need to do is I need to drill 2 different size holes. And one of them is the 1 1/2 first. And then the other one is the inch. Okay. So the 1 1/2 is for the base that holds the piece in there. That'll go in there like so. So I need to go in just far enough to accept that. I'll probably go down a good 1/4 inch is what I'm thinking. And that'll be enough to accept that. So we're going to go down about 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more. And check to make sure it fits. Okay, there's a 1/4 inch. I'm going to go 3/16. I don't want to go too deep because all that does is hold the recess for the bottom of the Peppermill. So I got to clean that up just a little bit to make it just a little bit bigger. So we'll get tool rest around. It's got to go just a hair bigger so that fits. So I got my skew here, and I'm just going to go in there just a little bit, clean that out, just so it barely fits. And kind of keep this as straight as possible. Okay. See if it fits. Not quite enough. A little bit more. Got to sneak up on it. I don't want to get too much because then it gets too loose. And I'm only taking maybe a 32nd to a 16th off. I'm not taking very much at a time. I'm not pushing real hard, just letting the tool cut. All right. Let's see if she fits. Perfect fit. All right, so that part's done. Now, I got to switch over and drill it out so my center part that holds the grinding mechanism in place next, and that's an inch. So I got an inch Forstner bit, and just so I know how far down I got to go, 7 inches. So it's roughly in 2 inches is all I got to go. And I'll feel it once it goes through the base of it. So there again, I'm going to drill about a 1/2 inch at a time till I work my way through there. And this wood is hard, I can tell, just by the way it's drilling. There's first 1/2 inch. Back it out. There's second 1/2 inch. I'll continue to drill that out and then I'll be right back and show you what the next one part is. Hang tight. All right, so I just drilled through that. I'll take it off and show you my hole. Okay. So there's the hole. Looks straight through there. Pretty good. So I got 1.5 inches here. Got 1 inch down in here. I need to make sure this fits, which I didn't do and I should have. So I got to put that back on there and drill out the or clean that up so it fits. So I got to put this back on and I got to center this. Make sure I'm centered. So in order to center it, I'm just putting it right in that hole. And that makes sure that I got the center of my blank. And we'll clean that up. I should have done that before I pulled it apart, because the mechanism, this doesn't quite fit in there, so I got to clean that out. If I had probably 1 inch and a 1/16 or 32nd bit, that would have been perfect for it. But I don't have one of them. So You got to remember when you're taking off just a little bit on one side, you're taking it off on the other side. So you got to be careful with that, because when you got your tool over here, you're removing material over here, but it's actually removing material on both sides. So you got to be careful. And that just about fits. I got to go inside there a little bit more. Clean up on the inside. That should be it right there. Perfect fit. Good. Okay. So that part's done. Now let's take this off and I'll put my top piece on and we'll get started on that one. So hang tight. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill a hole, and I'm drilling it through the top part first. I'm going to drill down all the way down to the end, go clear out, because this one here I need to get for this piece here to go on that. So, and I've got measured this, and this little piece here is a 1/4 inch. So we're going to drill a 1/4 inch hole. So, all right. And I want to make sure I'm in the center. This is a brad point bit. Okay, we're dead center. And I'm just going to go slow, and so that way it gives it a chance to drill. Because a bit like this will tend to want to wander if you ain't careful. So I'm just going to drill it real slow. And you also could bust that bit off. That's not what we want to do. I'm going to drill down about a 1/2 inch. Clean my bit out. And it should go right through now. There it is. So I'm through it. So all right. So that part's done. Now we got to take our 1/4 inch bit out, and we got to flip our blank around. So hang tight, and I'll flip my blank around. I'll show you what's next. All right. So what we got to do now is I put my cone on, the cone center back on for a minute, and I just want to make sure I get it lined up perfectly with that hole, so that when I turn this, it's perfectly lined up. And I need to clean that hole out a little bit with my bit. There we are. Because I want that right perfectly in line with that. Okay. Okay. Like that. Now what we got to do, take this out for a second and put my drill chuck back in. And we need to drill the piece for our drive, which is this little piece here. And that's 1 inch. And we're all going to go down a good 1/4 inch is all. This says 5/8. Let me measure that just to be positive. That might be right. Just double checking myself. Okay. It is a little bit larger than 5/8. So I'm going to drill 5/8 and then we'll trim it out before we go any further. That's why I don't have like a 7/16 Forstner bit. So we just drill it out that way and then go from there. Like I'm going to go down about 1/4 inch. Quarter inch right there. Okay. And this goes inside of here. As you can see, it don't fit. So I've got to clean that out so it fits. And take this. Excuse me. I'm just going to take a little bit out at a time. The same thing I had to do with the base plate. Okay, let's see if it fits. Look at it. Perfect. We're good. Okay, so that takes care of that part. So now we got our hole drilled. Everything's good. Take my drill chuck out and put my tail live center back in because we got to cut a spigot for to insert into the base of the blank wherever I put it. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to put my tailstock back in. That way this will help support it and it won't move on me. Put it right in that hole. That'll help support it. And now we got to turn this down to accept that. So I'm going to measure that and make sure. So we get it right. All right. All righty. So I'm going to come down about somewhere in there. Got my pencil here. And what I'm going to do is try to give me a reference point. I'm just going to take this and just kind of, it gives me a reference point of how far down I got to go. So I'm going to take this down to that size. Get my badan and face shield. And let's go. All right. You can see it's a little bit off, but that's fine. You want this to be kind of a good, not tight, but you want it tight. A good tight fit, because you don't want it to move. And this outer edge is right on, but back in behind it isn't. So we're in good shape. So now I'm going to finish tapering that off, clean that up nice and square, and we'll be good. fits. It's pretty close. Just a hair more. It's good to sneak up right up on it. That way you don't go too far. Okay, that's pretty good. It's a little bit tight, but that's all right because I got to clean that up. So I don't really want to take too much more off this. But what I want to do is clean up this edge here. So I'm going to clean that up and get that down in there. So I just kind of so. And I concave this in so that when this is on there, and I have to do the same thing to this one, this is on there, it'll fit perfect. So it's pretty tight, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. I'll clean that up when I concave that and we'll fit it. So that's that part right there. So that's our top. And I'm going to concave that just a hair so that that fits. Same thing. I'm going to clean that edge up and clean up that edge. Okay, we are going to, where's my little, what I'm looking for. All right, we're just going to clean that up just a hair. That little bit there, and clean it out. All right, so that takes care of that. Yeah. All right, so now what we're going to do, and this is the way I turn my Peppermills. It's not the only way to do it. Some people do it differently. Well, that's what makes the world different. So what I'll do is I will set up and show you exactly how I set my Peppermills up, and I'll be right back in a second. Hang tight. All right, so what I've got is I've made these little bushings, and this is the base, fits the base of it. Fits in that hole there. And I put this over top of that. Fits nice and snug. And I had to make one of these fit down in there like so. And then I put a washer on top of that. And then run my tailstock right up against that. And now I'm turning between centers. And that keeps everything perfectly level and it can't move. And now we can start shaping our Peppermill. So let's get started on that. And I'm going to make it round and come down to both ends here, clean her up, make it round, get my face shield on, and let's get started on that. Hang tight. All right, so here we go. I'm going to use my skew and I'm going to clean this all up, make it nice and round, and then we'll go from there. So. Okay. I gotta remember, this is the top of my Peppermill and this is the base. I gotta remember that when I'm turning this. Okay. So I've got pretty well rounded there the way I want it. All I want to do is right now is make it round and get rid of these flat spots. Kind of clean it up, and then we'll do our shape. Okay. All right, it's coming along real good. All right, gotta clean that end off and we'll start working on our shape. Alrighty. Got it pretty well round, no flat spots, we're in good shape. Alright, so basically now what I want to do is mark out where my pieces are going to go as far as my shape. So this is the, like I said, this is the base. And I just want to make sure, yeah, that's the top part, this is my base. So I'm going to put like a bead here on the end, something like that. Put another one, since this is a tall Peppermill, I want to do that. And then this part here, so that'll be a bead, that'll be there. And I'm thinking this will be a large bead, so it'll go something like that. Now come down and just drawing out some ideas here. I'm going to put a bead here. So that's the general shape that I'm looking for right there. So I'm going to start here, put my bead down here, get that, and then I'll work my way this way. So I'm going to use, hang on that, I'm going to grab me a spindle gouge. Right here it is. Got me a spindle gouge here that I can use. And we're going to do that. So I want to round this edge. Do a bead, it just kind of, let me get you around here where you can see the tool and see what it's doing. So hang tight. That's better. Now you can see where my tool is and what it's doing. All right. So basically I'm going to put two beads here. And I'm just going to start here. And we'll go. Let me give that a quick sharpen. Hang tight. All right, we're back. We got a tool sharp. Now I can go ahead and do my bead. Oh, that might be much better. See what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go a little deeper into the center of it. So I'm going to grab my other spindle gouge. We'll go a little deeper. I like that a little better. Yeah, that looks good. Got a little bit of a spot there I need to clean up. Okay, I like the looks of that. So now this part here is going to be you see my little drawing here. I'm going to make this into a bead, pretty nice bead, and then we'll come down into here. So the idea is the center of my bead should be somewhere right in here. And then the base of it will be clear over here. So I'm going to taper this into that and then that into that. That's the plan. So do a bead, you just kind of slowly work back to it. A lot of that is just how you handle the tool. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay. Got the general shape of what I'm looking for. Kind of the general shape. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'll move my tool rest down. Again, make a bead up here. That's going to be my top of the bead right here. And I'll turn it down to here. And then turn that down to that point. All right, here we go. I'll do the same thing over here. Just getting the rough shape right now of what I'm looking for. It gives me the rough shape, what I'm looking for. That's kind of the general shape I want. So now I'm going to clean all this up, and I'm going to use my skew, and I'm going to use my small skew, and I always like to turn up on top. We'll clean all this up right down to that point right there. There you go. Let me give this a quick sharpen, and I'll be right back. All right, got our quick sharpen, and let's see what we can do. Be careful with this because the points will get you if you ain't careful. You take your time. I always kind of do it on a 45. Go this way. See what we look like. I got a little bit of mud right there that I need to get out. But for the most part, it looks good. Got a couple little tear out parts right there. One right there. So let's give it another quick pass. See what we get. I think I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use a shear scrape cut with this. Let's see if I can get it cleaned up better. So I'm going to go way down low. If that's any better. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now I have to use this little bit here. See what that looks like. Feels pretty good. Got a little bit right in there I got to work with. But other than that, it looks looking good. I'm just going to clean that up and it feels good. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this side. Same thing. I'm going to use my skew, clean her up a little bit. All right, I'll clean that up and go from there. this way. That Purple Heart, I'll tell you what, when it's spinning like that, you see that shadow, and it's like it really plays with your eyes. At least it is mine. So we're going to come down, and I'm going to clean this up with the spindle gouge here. Do the same thing I did before. Up on high. A lot of times when I'm cutting this, I'm watching my tool, but I'm also looking up here to get my shape like I want it. That don't look too bad. That don't look too bad. Clean her up just a little bit more. I got a little tear out right there, and I see a little bit right there. So we're going to clean that up a little bit, and then we'll clean that up, and then we'll define these, and we'll be good. Okay, see if we got a tear out. Oh yeah, got that. Let's do this side here real quick. We'll make one pass right there. I got a little bit. And it almost doesn't look like I'm cutting anything, but their shavings are so fine that it's like more powder than anything. That's good. All right, let's clean these up down here, our little beads, and we'll be good. So just clean these up a little bit. Okay. That looks pretty good. I'm liking the shape of that. Being this tall, I want something to grab a hold of, so I think it looks pretty good. So let me get the other part, the bottom or the top part, put on here, and we'll do that one, and then we'll do a lot of sanding. Hang tight. All right, so what I did, put it together. It's going to fit like that. And I took my pencil and I went around there so I know where the top of this is. All right, and then we'll put this on here. And let's just kind of hold it in place. I'm going to give me some more room here. Take this out a little bit, get the tailstock away. I like to do my Peppermills between centers like this. So basically I'm going to turn this down, and this is just going to be a big bead is what the whole plan is. So, guess you didn't see that, did you? Because I hang tight. All right. So, all right. So I put a mark in there. Got it between centers. Let's see what we can do here. Hang tight. All right, so let's see what it looks like on our Peppermill. Well, it's not bad at all. Need to do a little bit more cleanup up on top, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. Kind of thinking maybe I should go deeper in here. And then taper that just a little bit more. Maybe I'll do that. Put that back on there and taper that a little bit. So hang tight. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to taper that just a hair more. And then I'm going to clean up down here. So, get my skew here. And I'm just going to go a little bit more on that. This might not be a good idea, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. That's better. I got a couple marks there, but don't worry about that. I'm going to do a little bit more down here in the middle. I want to taper this down just a hair more. So. This way. And we've got a little bit of tear out in there. Yeah, a little bit of tear out there. But for the most part, that's better. Take my spindle gouge and do a shear scrape on that. Okay, it's better. Yeah, now I'll do clean up this. I think that's got it, my friends. Yeah, looks pretty good. I'll do a little sanding on it, and we'll be right back. You don't want to watch me sand, so hang tight. All right, so what we did was we got her sanded. Now I put it in my chuck so I can finish the end of that off. And we'll do some final sanding and we'll be in good shape. So I just need to clean off the end of this a little bit. I want to just round that. Got my spindle gouge. And I just want to okay. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some more sanding. I'll clean that up, do some sanding, and I want to put a detail in the front of that. So let me finish up sanding and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm finishing up sanding with a little bit of 220. And I sand with the grain a little bit. Make sure I don't leave any scratches in it. All right, so now I want to put a couple marks in the top. So I want to just put a couple little beads in there. And I got my little detailed parting tool here. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'm just going to put one in the top. Just like that. I'll take some 220 and hit it with a little 220. And that will get it. All right. I'm going to put the other part on there and finish sanding it, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. What I did was I put this in the chuck, expanded it in my jaws, and I got to taper this so it sits on the table better. So I'm going to take that a little bit out. Got my tailstock in there to hold it in place. And I'm just going to kind of take a little bit off. Take my detailed pointer. Yeah, I hit my center, but it looks good. All right, now I'm going to clean it up a little bit with the sander, and I think we'll have it. So all right, that's got it. All right, now let's, I'll take it off and we'll show you what we got. Hang tight. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to dry fit it together. We're not going to put any screws in it or anything like that. This piece will go in here. Usually what I'll do is I'll take my stem and put it in there, and then I'll push that in. So let me push that in real quick because that'll help hold everything together. Hang tight. All right, so what I did, I should have probably showed you this, but what I got is a little short piece of the spindle. I put that in there, shove it right down in there, and then I take this and get that down in there first. It's a little tight. Put that in there, and then I put this in the vise, and I take the socket and I push that down, so that ends up being to there. So that's in there like that. Okay, so that part's put together. Then this part here, I put this in there, and our spring goes in. So this will go on to here. It's a grinding mechanism. Put my spring in, put that through the thing, and then this will go on top of this to be there. And then this goes on like so. Might have to drill my hole just a little bit. Hang on a minute. All right, so what I found was something new to me. I never ran across this before, but putting it together, I got my spring in there, that piece in there, my grinding mechanism in there, and then, like I said, this will go on the end, and I'll screw that in there. And then my top, what I found, there was burrs all up and down this, so I had to sand them off to get it to fit, which was the first time that ever happened. And we put this together, and this rod is just a hair long, so I'll have to cut it. So it will go in there like so, and that will be my Peppermill. So I think it looks pretty good. Like I said, I got to cut the end of it off a little bit, but that's not a big deal. But that's my Peppermill. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. I thought this was a pretty interesting project. I think it looks pretty good. Please feel free to share, subscribe, and like. Looking at the timer, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes long, so a little longer than I thought it would take. Normally Peppermills don't take that long, but narrating it takes a lot longer. That being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to share, subscribe, like. Don't forget to hit that hype button down at the bottom. And let's see what happens on the next one. Hopefully today. One of the things would be, since you made it to the end, would you leave me a comment of where you're watching this video? I want to see how far out my videos are reaching. And leave me a comment of, thumbs up, that kind of thing, and see what you think. All right. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.